Welcome to the podcast about venture capital, where investors and founders alike can learn how VCs make decisions and reach conviction. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome back to The Full Ratchet. On today's special segment of Investor Stories, the investors address trends, sectors, and markets that they think are positioned for outsized returns in the future. This is the segment called What's Next? On today's special segment, we have Avichal Garg of Electric Capital. Avichal, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Well, crypto is absolutely number one. I think fintech adjacent to that is probably number two. I think if you look at sort of more top down, if you look at the biggest parts of the economy and you look at, who are the biggest companies in the world 25, 30 years ago and who are the biggest companies today, it's kind of just, three industries have managed to survive the transition. Like obviously we have Google and Facebook and Amazon, like these massive new companies have emerged and sort of taken over the top 100 slots in terms of the largest companies in the world. But the ones that have persisted are essentially sort of banking finance companies, right? These like legacy, the sort of Wells Fargo and Bank of America of the world. Two is healthcare companies, have persisted in the US. And three is energy. And so I think if you look at those three sectors, like, technology has a way of sort of disrupting everything eventually. And so I think those are three sectors whose time has come. And obviously the one I'm closest to is sort of fintech, because I think crypto sort of slots into that and is adjacent. But I think, I would not be surprised to see healthcare be fundamentally changed and upended over the next 5 to 10 years. And I also would not be surprised to see energy go through some pretty fundamental changes. I mean, things like, electric cars, I think fundamentally change that. We're seeing, I think, a resurgence in people willing to be able to explore nuclear and being open to that. Solar has finally started to get to a point where it's cost effective. So I think we're starting to be at the very beginnings of that, kind of the way we thought 10 or 15 years ago we might be. But I think the data is now starting to push energy in a particular direction. So those are three that I think are going to go through massive disruption.
On today's special segment, we have Jonathan Hung of UVP. Jonathan, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I think telemedicine and food tech, like even before coronavirus and now after, satisfaction, right? Like we have this weird thing where it's like, you look at social media, you're like, you have your attention span's a little lower, right? You want to get satisfied right away. I think, we don't have to go see a doctor in person. We've invested in, I think, companies like Brightside, Minded, and Cerebral, where, it's not necessarily like where the HIMSS market or the Roman market is. Like you can get your prescription antidepressant medications, where you don't have, like, we could just get interviewed right now or talk to your doctor in this closed circuit manner and like figure out like, okay, what makes sense for you? I think those are huge businesses to get into, and you'll see those with their valuation. And like I said, like you don't have to go to a CVS or Walgreens, and even they're working on their delivery platform. Like,
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing where you don't have to go in and see a pharmacist. Food tech, I think like, the DoorDash of the world, the Uber Eats, we'll see how long it lasts, because really like, I think food delivery will become like $1 trillion business, as they say, by 2026, but it's killing mom and pop stores. Like if DoorDash is taking 50% of the fees, or I'm like, you're not going to last as long as you are. So I think that's ripe for disruption. I think education, same thing. Like, people don't have to go to Stanford or Harvard and sit in class. We can learn. I can't do that. I can't learn through Zoom. I would not have the attention span. I think I need to be in a room, but I think the future is people are going to learn so much better and quicker with, whether it's a master class or if it's like a, massive open online course where, hey, I could learn how to code right away instead of going and sitting down at some university.
Awesome. On today's special segment, we have Nicole Quinn of Lightspeed. Nicole, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Yes. The rise of social. I believe that the last generation was about looking good through Instagram. The next generation is about sounding good through companies like Lunch Club, when you meet, new interesting people, or through Hey Go, when you get to, go to an amazing new place in Portofino, Italy, and meet with a tour guide, and that tour guide takes you around on a live tour of the town, and you learn something new and get to then, tell your friends, gosh, I had a live tour guide yesterday of this incredible little town in Italy, and, learned these 3 new Italian words and how to cook an incredible bowl of spaghetti. So I'm a big believer in applying social to many different areas, social healthcare, social travel, social networking. And then I'm a big believer in live shopping. I think that it'll look very different to China, as we discussed earlier, but I'm bullish on that space. I'm doing more in consumer fintech and also consumer healthcare right now. And those are probably marketplaces, commerce, social, next-gen consumer are obviously areas that I'll always spend time in. But those are the ones where I'm spending most time at the moment.
On today's special segment, we have Brian Requarth of Latitude. Brian, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
We talked about fintech. PropTech is the largest asset class in the world. It is extremely inefficient, not digital, and you've got many, many different pockets of opportunity inside, from the whole value chain, from search to transaction, mortgage, insurance. It should be the mother of all sectors. And I've invested in 13 prop tech companies just in Latin America, and so I'm relatively long on the sector play. And I think that people misunderstand prop tech, and they think that it's a winner takes all or winner takes most market. And there's some parts of prop tech that are classifieds business. That's a winner takes most. But when you look at all of the different elements and all of the different parts of the value chain, there's just an amazing opportunity to have some good returns in prop tech. I don't think it's an easy one, and it helps to have some operating experience, but I think that's a sector that I'm very excited about. And ed tech is another one that I think is just very, very exciting. As someone who didn't really flourish in the traditional education system, I would say that I gravitate towards alternative education opportunities, and I think that there'll be a massive unbundling of universities across the world, and that's something that excites me tremendously.
That will wrap up today's episode. Thanks for joining us here on the show, and if you'd like to get involved further, you can join our investment group for free on AngelList. Head over to angel.co and search for New Stack Ventures. There you can back the syndicate to see our deal flow, see how we choose startups to invest in, and read our thesis on investment in each startup we choose. As always, show notes and links for the interview are at fullratchet.net. And until next time, remember to overprepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for joining us.